Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2. We'll present about blockchain technology and big data technology. This is my group members. I'm Nur Syafiqah binti Abdul Latif and my members Nur Amiza Nazira binti Muhammad Aris, Ira Nusyahira binti Kamal, Kalika binti Rifin, and lastly Tuan Aisyatul Makfira binti Muhammad Azhar.
So let's restart with what is blockchain technology. Blockchain is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. Let me give you a simple analogy for understanding blockchain technology. For example, we take a Google Doc. When we create a document and share it with a group of people, the document is distributed instead of copy or transfer. This creates a decentralized distribution chain that gives everyone access to the document at the same time. No one is lookout awaiting another change from another party, while all modifications to the doc are being recorded in a real time, making changes completely transparent. So now you get an idea what is blockchain? Okay, let's remove. A blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated or distributed across the entire network of computer system on the blockchain. Each block in the chain contains a number of transactions, and every time a new transaction occurs on the blockchain, a record of that transaction is added to every participant ledger. The decentralized database managed by multiple participants is known as distributed ledger technology, DLT. Blockchain is a type of distributed ledger technology in which transactions are recorded with an immutable cryptographic signature called a hash. So, to be more understand about hash and blockchain, let's see this video.
Blockchains are incredibly popular nowadays. But what is a blockchain? Like the name indicates, a blockchain is a chain of blocks that contains information. Blockchain is a distributed ledger that is completely open to anyone. They have an interesting property. Once some data has been recorded inside a blockchain, it becomes very difficult to change it. So how does that work? Well, let's take a closer look at a block. Each block contains some data, the hash of the block, and the hash of the previous block. The data that is stored inside a block depends on the type of blockchain. The Bitcoin blockchain, for example, stores the details about a transaction in here, such as the sender, receiver, and the amount of coins. A block also has a hash. You can compare a hash to a fingerprint. It identifies a block and all of its contents, and it's always unique, just as a fingerprint. Once a block is created, its hash is being calculated. Changing something inside the block will cause the hash to change. So in other words, hashes are very useful when you want to detect changes to blocks. If the fingerprint of a block changes, it no longer is the same block. The third element inside each block is the hash of the previous block. And this effectively creates a chain of blocks, and it's this technique that makes a blockchain so secure. Let's take an example. Here we have a chain of 3 blocks. As you can see, each block has a hash and the hash of the previous block. So block number 3 points to block number 2, and number 2 points to number 1. Now the first block is a bit special. It cannot point to previous blocks because, well, it's the first one. We call this block the Genesis block. Now let's say that you tamper with the second block. This causes the hash of the block to change as well. In turn, that will make block 3 and all following blocks invalid because they no longer store a valid hash of the previous block. So changing a single block will make all following blocks invalid. But using hashes is not enough to prevent tampering. Computers these days are very fast and can calculate hundreds of thousands of hashes per second. You could effectively tamper with a block and recalculate all the hashes of other blocks to make your blockchain valid again.
So now, why blockchain is important? Business nowadays run on information. The faster it receives and the more accurate, the better it is. Blockchain is ideal for delivering that information because it provides immediate, share, and completely transparent information stored on immutable ledger that create the access only by permissioned network member. A blockchain network can be track order, payment, account, production, and much more. And because members share a single view of the truth, you can see all the detail of the transaction end to end, giving you greater confidence as well as a new efficient and opportunity. So now we understand what is blockchain. Let's move to the evolution of the blockchain. Although blockchain is a new technology, it's already boasts a rich and interesting history. Satoshi Nakamoto was the first introduced the concept of blockchain in 2008. The design continued to improve and evolve with Nakamoto using a hash call-like method. It eventually became a primary component of Bitcoin, which popular form of cryptocurrency, where it serves as public ledger for all network transaction. Bitcoin blockchain file size, which contain all transaction and record on the network, continued to grow sustainably. By August 2014, it had reached 20 gigabytes and eventually exceeds 200 gigabytes by early 2020. Now, we move to the big data technology. Big data technology can be defined as a software utility that is designed to analyze, process, and extract the information from the extremely complex and large data set, which the traditional data processing software could never deal with it. We need big data processing technology to analyze the huge amount of real-time data and come with the conclusion and prediction to reduce the risk in the future. So, big data technology is mainly classified into two types. First, operational big data technology. The operational big data technology is all about the normal day-to-day data that we generate. This could be the online ticket booking, which include our rail ticket, flight ticket, movie ticket, and so on. And also include online shopping, which like Amazon, Shopee, Lazada, and so on. Next, data from social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and a lot of more. And the last one, the employee detail of any multinational company. Second type is analytical big data technology. Analytical big data is like the advanced version of big data technology. It is a little complex than the operational big data. In short, analytical big data is where the actual performance part comes into the picture and the crucial real-time business decisions are made by analyzing the operational big data. For example, the analytical big data technology like stock market, carrying out the space mission where every single bit of information is crucial, weather forecast information, and medical field where particular patient health status can be monitored. Big data can be described by certain characteristics, always known as V's. The first V is a volume. The volume is the quantity of generated and stored the data. The size of the data determines the value and the potential insight and whether it can be considered a big data or not. The size of big data is usually large than terabyte and petabytes. Second V is variety. Variety is the type and nature of the data. The processing of the structured data was still kept as optional, either using big data or traditional method. This helps in analyzing data toward effective uses of the hidden insight exposed from the data collected via social media, log file, sensor, and so on. Big data draws from the text, image, audio, video, plus a complete missing piece through the data fusion. Next V is a velocity. Velocity is the speed at which the data is generated and processed to meet the demand and challenge that lie in the path of growth and development. Big data is often available in a real time. Compared to small data, big data is produced more continually. The last V is a veracity. Veracity is the truthfulness or reliability of the data, which refer to the data quality and the data value. Big data must not only be large in size, but also must be reliable in order to achieve value in the analysis of it. The data quality of captured data can vary greatly, affecting and accurately analysis. So now, we move to the evolution of the big data. The term big data has been used since the early 1990s. It is a true essence. Big data is not something that completely new or only of the last 2 decades. Over the course of century, people have been trying to use the data analysis and analytical technique to support their decision-making process. However, in the last 2 decades, the volume and speed with which data is generated has changed beyond measure of human comprehension. The total amount of data in the world was 4.4 zettabytes in 2013. It is set of rise steadily into 44 zettabytes by 2020. To put that in perspective, 44 zettabyte is equivalent to 44 trillion gigabytes. Even with the most advanced technology today, it is impossible to analyze all this data. They need to process this increasingly large data set in how traditional data analysis transformed into big data in the last decade.
Next, blockchain application. First, banking and finance. By integrating blockchain into banks, consumers can see their transaction process in as little as 10 minutes, basically the time it takes to add a block to the blockchain, regardless of holidays or the time of day or week. With blockchain, banks also can exchange funds between institutions more quickly and securely. Next, currency. By spreading its operations across a network of computers, blockchain allows Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to operate without the need for a central authority. This is not only reduces risk but also eliminates many of the processing and transaction fees. Third, healthcare. Healthcare providers can leverage blockchain to securely store their patients' medical records. When a medical record is generated and signed, it can be written into the blockchain, which provides patients with the proof and confidence that the record cannot be changed. Fourth, voting. Blockchain could be used to facilitate a modern voting system. Using blockchain in this way would make votes nearly impossible to tamper with. The blockchain protocol will also maintain transparency in the electoral process, reducing the personnel needed to conduct an election and providing officials with nearly instant results. Lastly, food industry. The food industry has seen countless outbreaks. Using blockchain, given brands the ability to track a food product's route from its origin through each stop it makes and finally its delivery. If a food is found to be contaminated, then it can be traced all the way back through each stop to its origin. Not only that, but these companies can also now see everything else it may have encountered, allowing the identification of the problem to occur far sooner and potentially saving lives. Next, blockchain in accounting. Blockchain is expected to change the present accounting system in different ways. Blockchain creates an innovative method to catalog and account for data. They offer transparency and certainty over ownership and history of assets and existence of obligations. This will free much of the accountant's time and reduce the cost of maintaining and reconciling registers, which will greatly improve efficiency. Moreover, with record keeping transferred to the blockchain, more resources will be available for planning and valuation. New types of assets, which are very difficult to measure in a traditional accounting system, can be managed by blockchain accounting. They could also make settlements on maturity of different assets based on smart contracts and record them. Now, we will move on to impact of blockchain. First, operational efficiency through immutable and distributed record keeping. Blockchain eliminates the need for interphone reconciliation. As a matter of fact, blockchain can be used to timestamp anything and provide a proof of the existence of a digital or digitalized asset at a given moment. Second, information symmetry through transparent record keeping. Blockchain challenged this paradigm by eliminating the imbalance of information among agents. A shared, transparent ledger increased the cooperation between regulators and regulated entities. Lastly, decentralized corporations and governance. Blockchain enables new business models, innovative organization forms, or new process of work and production where access is over ownership and sharing is over property. Blockchain shifts the boundary between hierarchical organizations and non-territorial, spontaneous, ordered, and self-organizing economies. Next, I will explain about the big data implementation. First, healthcare. The use of big data in healthcare involves using wearable devices for capturing patients' biometric data in real time to track patients' states and make predictions about their health in the near future. Using big data, patients with chronic conditions can take better control over their disease. Second, education. Applications of big data in education revolve around evaluation and assessment practice. The analytics system help educators in government and corporate segments gain insights about students' present and future behavior patterns and learning habits to take timely action as soon as they suspect that a particular student may be having problems. Third, banking. Big data simplifies the loan assignment process that previously took months and required analyzing tons of paperwork before a banker could arrive at any concrete decision. Other big data banking examples include facilitating loan assignments for business. Fourth, smart cities. Used in smart city management, big data enhance the quality of life by applying predictive and real-time analytics. In transportation management, big data helps build new public transportation routes based on the current demand of the citizens, detect traffic jams, and redirect traffic to avoid accidents. Lastly, retail. Big data applications in retail help both online retailers and brick-and-mortar stores boost sales and improve customer experience in several ways. For example, by tracking customer preference and offering product suggestion based on the previous choice. Next, big data in accounting. Having real-time access to the accounting data is the only way forward as it keeps you in sync with the broader business calendar, instantly correct errors in reports, and escalates efficiency, saving both time and money. Big data contains a large volume of unstructured data that is to be organized. Applying data analytics to big data creates several opportunities for accounting firms to gain significant insights, predict future outcomes, and automate non-routine financial tasks. Providing risk-free financial service to customers is essential for firms this day, as voluminous data comes with many security threats. Though auditors still work on large data sets, audit analytics enables them to visualize the wide range of financial and non-financial data. It helps auditors focus on a greater area of risk to predict outcomes that will improve forecasting. Now, we will move on to the impact of big data. First, efficiency improvements. Big data allows companies to gain a full understanding of the products, so decision-making process can optimize and change to ensure maximum operational efficiency. Second, stimulates economic growth. Data farming companies have made hundreds of billions since they first appeared in early 2000s, and we have barely scratched the surface of the opportunities data provides us with. Next, faster and better decision making. With the speed of data analytics and analyze new sources of data, businesses are now able to analyze information instantly and make smart, informed decisions. Fourth, create job opportunities. We need software that can take care for us. Developing such solutions requires programmers and engineers, which means more job opportunities.
Thank you, Karika. And now I will continue the presentation with the benefits and drawback or pro and cons of blockchain. Actually, Karika already stated the function and a little bit about benefit blockchain in accounting. So here I will explain more in details in general and also in accounting. Let's begin with the 5 benefits of blockchain. We go to the first one, which is transparency. Blockchain makes transaction history more transparent because it is a type of distributed ledger that all nodes in the network share a copy of documentation. And also, the data is easily accessible for everyone to view. Even there is a change in transaction, everyone in the network can see the changes and also the updated records. Second is about security. Blockchain is secured because it is decentralized, so no one can reserve the right to update records by their free will. The share of transaction can only be updated or modified with consensus of blockchain network. Only if everyone or majority agree to update the records, the information can be updated or edited. This is important to secure the information. Third, efficiency. Blockchain are more efficient than traditional because traditional use paperwork process and also needs of third-party mediation that also bring the human errors. Okay, so blockchain can streamline and also discipline this legacy method and remove the risk of mistake and making the trading more efficient and also faster. Without any intermediaries, settlement can be smooth and also effortless. Fourth is auditability. In supply chain, it is hard to trace product back to their origin. As each transaction is recorded for its complete lifetime in blockchain, there is an audit trail that already exists for auditor to see and check the authenticity of the asset and also prevent fraud. Lastly is cost reduction. As blockchain eliminates the needs of third parties and middlemen, it saves costs for businesses. Also, can save the cost and effort spent on documentation and its revision as everyone get the view of single immutable version of a ledger. So, the cost will decrease and will increase the quality and also the efficiency. Next, if this technology give benefits, it also have a drawbacks or risk to who applied this technology. The first risk is no privacy. As we know, data on a public blockchain is encrypted and also anonymous. But don't forget, it lies in the hand of all nodes in the network. So everyone in the network has the rightful to access to this data. There is a possible that someone could track down the identity of a person in network through this transaction data, just like trackers and also the cookies. Second, difficulties with updating and elimination of errors. The blockchain technology can't be edited or modified, meaning all the information on it has to be 100% accurate. For example, if you make a mistake, you need to ask a permission for everyone involved to make the alterations. Third is about high cost. This technology represents low cost for users, but unfortunately, this implies high implementation costs for companies, which delay its mass adoption and also implementation. Usually, this technology used by big company only. Fourth, a company needs a huge storage data. As the number of users grow, the number of operations that will be integrated into the block and to be stored will also be grow. So, the space required will also have to increase inside the mini computers. Eventually, it can exceeding the capacity of the current hard disk, and this is also give a cost to the company. Lastly, it brings to the high unemployment because blockchain eliminates the needs of third parties and also middlemen. As blockchain technology is adopted and implemented, all these intermediate sector for the valuation of payment and also processes will necessarily be reduced or the job required for it will disappear. And this is also lead to the unemployment. Next, after you know the benefit and also the drawback of blockchain, now the question is, will blockchain technology replace accountant? Yeah, of course, no. Because blockchain accounting doesn't seek to replace traditional accounting or accountants, because this technology just replacing the bookkeeping function of accounting system to the centralized ledger. So, along with the data analytics and machine learning, the blockchain will make the task easy and automate. But don't forget, accountant will be needed to ensure the accuracy and also the provide of analysis of the information to the employers or the client needed. And we can say that accountant as a community of business advisor that use professional judgment to help organization. That's right. I give you an example. Let's say we want to measure the assets ownership. It can be verified by blockchain records, right? But don't forget, its condition, location, and also true worth will still need to be measured by accountant. Last from me, blockchain technology not replaced, but it is affect accounting because blockchain has the potential to enhance the accounting profession by reducing the cost of maintaining and also reconcile ledger, and lastly provide absolute certainty over the ownership and history of assets. That's all from me, and Ira will continue the presentation with the opportunity and risk of big data.
So now let's see the opportunities and risks of big data on the accounting profession. Here we separate out three broad ways in which big data is being used to improve business decision, which are to get insight, to predict the future, and to automate non-routine decision making. In each of these areas, there are opportunities and risks in using data in these ways. First, to get insight, whereas the business can use big data
to enhance their understanding of their opportunities, customers, risks, and markets. Thus, in the accountant profession, they have many opportunities to use different sources of data and new analytics tools. This can help to improve forecasting, for example, drawing on non-financial data or using more real-time data. Furthermore, these tools can be used by accountants in advisory roles to help business with their business planning or operations. Next opportunities of this data insight are regulators. Access to this data provide opportunities for regulators to focus their resources more effectively and identify what needs further investigation. So what is the risk in using this way? First, management information systems have always been hampered by data, which is inaccurate, inconsistent, duplicated, or out of date. For example, data from social media can be unreliable or become outdated very quickly. Next is traditional responses to poor quality data, emphasize cleansing data or disregarding it entirely where the quality is very poor. This shown we questionable the data quality right. And lastly is the risk that data that relates to the selection of data and parameters of the analysis. Second way is to predict the future. Big data analytics particularly focus on the prediction of future outcome. While business have always been trying to predict the future, big data opens up new possibilities. As a result, greater reliance can be placed on models. Many customer service function personalized services based on prediction about individual customers. For example, previous transactions, similar customer, and the qualities of products and services to predict products you are likely to enjoy. Some issues that arise. For example, not enough data to be statistically valid, lack of feedback, look to pick up errors or changes in the environment. Opaque use of data, often using sensitive data that would otherwise not be allowed, confusing correlation with causation, and using data that is cheap and easily available rather than that data that is most relevant but hard to capture. This problem results in models and decision making, which can discriminate against disadvantaged group. Lastly is to automate non-routine decision making. The third broad use of this big data built on these predictive capabilities to automate routine and non-routine decision and tasks. Automation is also having an increasing impact on accountancy. Significant areas of bookkeeping and compliance work are being automated, and machine learning techniques will enable even more complex and less standard tasks to be automated. So, is there any risk? Yes, of course. There is. So this is because the rapid development of these technologies and techniques raises deep questions for profession, such as is there accountancy and law around how far automation can go? So to manage such risks, business need to put greater emphasis on cyber security. Challenges in exploiting big data. While there have been a lot of publicity around big data, it has been exploited mainly by big companies, often those at the leading edge of data and technologies. This section outlines some of the challenges and priorities in exploiting big data of three distinct groups, which is businesses, accountants, and also policymakers. First is businesses. Many businesses struggle to know where to start with data, especially big data. For smaller business, the concept of big data may appear to be irrelevant as they may not have been very much data. Alternatively, they may have lots of data but struggle to identify. This is made challenge for them to exploit from big data. So let's relate to the organizational structure around the big data. Given the needs to access many different skills, building interdisciplinary teams is a key element of success, and a variety of approaches have been taken to achieve this. Some businesses have set up the Center of Excellence that lead initiative and share experience and best practice working with other business areas as needed. Is accountants. Accounting tasks are grounded in data. Therefore, improvement in the ability to capture, process, store, analyze, visualize, and share data will have particular relevance to how accountants undertake their works. Here, exploiting the big data requires a combination of skills spread across three broad areas. First, statistical skill that to build the algorithms and understands the robustness of model. Second is data of technology skill to extract and manipulate the data. And the third is domain knowledge, which to ask the right question and gain insight from the analysis. The third is policymakers. Policymakers should also be concerned about the building the right the skill to across the economy to enable the widespread use of the big data. There are many concerns about the shortage in the specialist skill in the upcoming years. So the regulatory framework needs to be carefully considered. In a world of the big data, decision about the individual will increasingly be made on the basis of pattern and profiling. Therefore, the big data has deep social implication and raises questions about when it is acceptable to judge people based on data about past behavior, personal characteristics, and also the similarities to others. The impact of big data on the future accountants. Big data affect the accounting profession where there is an increase in the financial data represented by video data and image, audio, text, and email. So, accountant must sufficiently aware of the impact of big data on traditional accounting records and information. First is the video and image data. Visual data has become more widespread and the use of this data has become a reality to increase the accounting record. Thus, the accountants must sufficiently aware of the impact such as image and video storage that include workplace video to track the worker productivity, video of inventory to check the real-time changes to measure the productivity and file bottlenecks, and also a video of property status, buildings and equipment as an extra element to discuss possible impairment, issue and others. Second is audio data. Audio data related to the company activities that will enhance of accounting records and improve the financial information quality. Audio sources include quarterly conference call, shareholder and board meeting, customers call, and internal phone calls for staff. And the audio data analysis achieve annual quarter earnings, knowledge of customers, satisfaction, and the product quality. Lastly is textual data. Textual data represent non-financial documents such as email messages and web pages, including corporate documents on company site, social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and others. So, accountants must sufficiently aware of the impact data from these sources because it will be useful, such as company extract and merge the big data formats with traditional financial data to enhance their ability to access and predict the business performance, improve transparency, and relationalize the decision making. So from the above video and image, audio, and also textual data, it can improve the transparency and usefulness for the decision making. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Company that using blockchain, Nestle. Nestle has made significant progress in uncovering blockchain possibilities over the course of several years. The organization is a founding member of the IBM Food Trust, a software as a service solution that gives users quick access to actionable food supply chain data. This includes the whole history and present location of every particular food item, as well as any associated information such as certificate, test data, and the temperature data, all of which can be made public in seconds once uploaded to the blockchain. Nestle broke ground in supply chain transparency in 2019 when it collaborated with
blockchain platform OpenSC, which is an innovative blockchain platform that allows consumers to track their food right back to the farm. Through this collaboration, Nestle becomes the first major food and beverage company to announce that it will pilot open blockchain technology in this way. This is part of Nestle's journey towards full transparency. The initial pilot program traced milk from farms and producers in New Zealand to Nestle factories and warehouses in the Middle East. Later, the technology will be tested using palm oil sourced in the Americas. This pilot will allow Nestle to understand how scalable the system is. Upon successful completion of the pilot program in Malaysia in 2019, Nestle aimed to expand this program throughout their supply chain. Issue and solution using blockchain. Christoph, a logistic management specialist at the Federal Technology Center ETH Zurich, is in favor of more open blockchain system like OpenSC, despite the fact that they need a lot more work for businesses to deploy. But he is concerned about their safety. The quality of the information provided by a system like OpenSC hinges on the accuracy of the data entered. Christoph explained that this is problematic in complex supply chain as more data entry points increase the risk of error, especially when poorly trained farmers or workers under time pressure are involved. It is possible to automate some aspect of data entry by using sensor or RFID chips, but every interface still creates opportunities for errors and or even manipulation. So as the solution, they are getting third-party certifiers like Fair Trade or Rainforest Alliance to verify if the information entered into the blockchain can be trusted. Everyone, including Nestle, agrees that blockchain alone cannot guarantee sustainable supply chain. A combination of different technologies, certification agencies, and a willingness to be transparent about sourcing are all needed. And when it comes to making sure a product is not contributing to deforestation or other illegal activities, the fundamentals are still important. Company that using big data, Netflix. Netflix has millions of subscribers and it is very difficult to handle all the data. Hence, big data helps in collecting all the data of the users and recommend movies according to their past searches. According to Netflix, most of the viewers' activity is based on personalized suggestions. Even it compiles numerous data points to build an accurate profile on its subscribers. For instance, Netflix takes screenshots of the scenes most watched or might have played repeatedly to know the customer preference. They also use big data and analytic tools to choose if they prefer to greenlight original content or not. Therefore, Netflix's skill to collect and use the data is the explanation behind its achievement. Issue and solution using big data. Netflix Prize was an open competition for the best collaborative filtering algorithm to predict user rating of films based on previous rating without any other information about the users or films, without the users or the films being identified except by numbers assigned for the contest. Though Netflix has tried to anonymize its dataset and protect users' privacy, a lot of privacy issues arose around the data associated with Netflix competition. In 2007, researchers at the University of Austin were able to figure out the users in the anonymous Netflix dataset by matching their ratings on the Internet Movie Database. In 2009, 4 people related to this issue filed a lawsuit against Netflix for the violation of the United States Fair Trade Laws and the Video Privacy Protection Act. On 19 March 2010, Netflix reached a settlement with the plaintiff, after which they voluntarily dismissed the lawsuit. Following this, Netflix has cancelled its competition for 2010 and thereafter. Okay, next is suggestion. Combination of blockchain and big data. The combination of these technologies is unbeatable. Blockchain technology perfectly meets the requirements and challenges of big data, providing transparency and security. Blockchain developers can combine big data and blockchain to improve business analytics. Next, accountants need to know the new technology. Most accountants who are interested in blockchain will need to know how to use relevant software, such as ledger software, contract and records. The accountant need to be technologically sophisticated in order to keep up with the rapidly changing industry environment. So next is conclusion. As a conclusion, blockchain and big data has challenges, advantages and opportunities. Blockchain ensure data storage and privacy to increase the data integrity, whereas the big data deals with data ensuring the data quantity, velocity and variety to deliver better prediction. We believe that these new technologies can improve performance and provide a better future for accounting profession.
I think that's all from us presenting new technology, blockchain and big data that influence in accounting in future. And thank you for watching. Bye. Assalamualaikum.